right. Great to have you with us on the show today. Suddenly, something out of nowhere happened that just hasn't happened in a while. It rained here today.
It rained, yeah.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say somebody criticized the Dave Matthews Band. I was going to say I was doing that for about 20 minutes.
Oh, for goodness sakes. You going on and on and on about the Dave Matthews Band.
They were terrible. Wasn't a fan. I won't say they were terrible. Just wasn't a fan.
Oh, man. Okay.
I didn't initiate. Well, I didn't initiate this one, though. I just added on and poured it on.
Oh. Unreal. All right. So, a couple things. Let's start with what is going to end up being the big story of the day, and that is PGA, LIV, and the DP Tour are all going to come together. It's a merger. So let's start with this. Number one, it's good for the fans because the fans, let's go back to what I've talked about at the majors. The fans do not care about what tour somebody's on.
Right.
They just want to see the best players play. So it turned out that Jon Rahm beat out Brooks Koepka to win the Masters. It turned out that Brooks Koepka beat the field to win the PGA. PGA, LIV. Nobody cared which tour. Phil Mickelson finished second at the Masters. Crowd was going wild as he was playing the 18th, in the fourth round. Right? Loving the back nine he played. Didn't matter to him what tour he was on. Now let's get to... All right, so the fans end up being the winner out of all this because, like anything, you want to see the best players. When the ABA merged with the NBA, now Julius Erving is playing in the NBA. David Thompson is playing in the NBA. Artis Gilmore is playing in the NBA. All right? When the WHA merges with the NHL, Wayne Gretzky is now playing in the NHL. Okay? Wayne Gretzky started his career in the WHA. He did not start his career in the NHL. He only came over to the NHL in the merger. Right? Gordie Howe, for one final season, came back to the NHL. AFL merges with the NFL. Now Joe Namath is playing the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football in Cleveland. And conversely, you have the Green Bay Packers playing the New York Jets at Shea Stadium. It's what the fans want. That's what these mergers mean. It means all the talent coming together. Suddenly, Jim Kelly, when the USFL dissolves, Jim Kelly's playing in the NFL, as is Steve Young. Right? I mean, the USFL failed, but the failure brought the talent. Reggie White is now playing in the NFL. Herschel Walker's playing in the NFL. Fans just want to see the best play against the best. That's all the fans want. Right, now let's get to the nuts and bolts of this. Because the entire time, what have I maintained? The entire time I've maintained two things. One, there needed to be a merger. I've said that the entire time with this. And number two, the fans only want to see the best. I have not ripped either tour along the way. I just said that eventually there would need to be a merger, and I said that the fans, all they cared about were seeing the best players. So I've never taken sides in all of this. I haven't talked about sports washing and Saudi money and PGA Tour problems. I haven't done any of that, right? Because, you know what? Sometimes, like, you're sitting there from 30,000 feet, you don't want to... I don't want to really talk about stuff that you're really not too sure about. It's not right to sit here and do a show and do something like that. That doesn't mean other people don't do it. They do it. I need clicks. Okay, hey, good for you, sport. Don't need the clicks. Don't care. But here's the part that strikes me about this. Let's just go with the PGA Tour. One after another, the players are tweeting today. You know how they all found out? They didn't find out from the tour. Found out on Twitter.
Yep.
But by the way, the worldwide leader in sports found out from Twitter too. Gary Williams is the one that tweeted it out.
Yep.
From Golf Channel. He tweeted it out, and CNBC then broke the story. ESPN didn't break the story. CNBC broke the story. Oh. Another big day for the worldwide leader. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, but that's a different topic.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? These players. Okay. Let's take Rory McIlroy.
Mm-hmm.
Rory McIlroy has carried the publicity water for the PGA Tour ever since this broke. So what's it been, a year and a half? Really?
It's been over a year, yep.
Yeah. And it's been Rory McIlroy. Jay Monahan has hardly talked. He let all the players do the talking for him. Well, guess what? Okay? Yeah. I can't stand when that happens.
Right. Especially when the result is what happened today.
Right. But this happens all the time. Antonio Brown has a problem. Who ends up doing all the talking? All the people have nothing to do with it. His teammates in the locker room. What do you think of Antonio? I don't know what to think of Antonio Brown. Right? And they're the ones that get asked all the questions because they're the ones always available. The ones that in the responsible point of view have the responsibility never talk.
Right.
He's having a problem with management. Okay. Where's management's press conference? Where's his press conference? No, after the game. We got to ask the players. They have nothing to do with it. The coaches, nothing to do with it. Yet they're always the one they have to answer for the problem people all the time. Same thing with this. Right? The players are going out there and they're being barraged for over a year. What do you think of this? What do you think? What do you think? And they have, right? And in the end, they get out of nowhere. What the heck? We're merging?
Yeah.
They're the last ones to find out.
Yeah.
That's not right.
It's not right. That's one of that's 1A and 1B to what's not right.
Decision makers need to be the ones that are always up front and the ones instead of hiding behind everybody else.
They know when somebody makes a controversial decision, they know. And they sit back and just hope that they're going to be the one that sits back and, well, I didn't make the final call. Well, that's how it always is. And that's not just this. Look, how many times have people been traded or released and you find out via Twitter or somewhere? Sure. And that's why, you go back, and this is comparing apples to oranges. You go back to when LeBron James made the, quote, the decision, and it was widely criticized, absolutely chastised. Sure. You know what? I have seen it the opposite way plenty of times where a GM or a manager does that to a player and it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So, that was, to me, that's the spot where
we'll put out a press release. Yeah. And then you put out a press release. Yeah. And then everybody else
already
has to
knows
talk.
about it. Everybody else talks about it. Yeah. Not the main person that should be talking about it.
Guess what? You made the decision.
Yeah.
Get out there. Talk.
Yeah. Yep. No, and they hide. That's
Get out there and talk.
No, they sit and hide and
just stop sending out surrogates. Get up there, talk.
Yeah.
That's why press releases get put out. What do I always do in press releases?
Yeah.
I always sit there and say, no, I don't read them.
No, I go, just look at it and say, okay.
Jay Monahan said, this is exactly how I do it.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
I do that every single time. Why? Because I think all that stuff is nonsense.
It's complete nonsense.
Carefully crafted, carefully worded.
Yeah, of course it is.
If it's legal, I got it. Okay?
Right.
But, okay, sit down, answer questions.
Can't do it. They won't do it. And that's the problem. I think,
But they want you to cover it.
They want, absolutely. They want you to cover it. They want you to be the one to be the bad guy. They don't want to be the bad guy in any way when they do these kind of things. And to me, obviously you talked about the fans. Great for the fans, no question about it. Fans are the most important part because they don't exactly. They don't care about what
they want to see DeChambeau. They want to see DeChambeau hit the ball 350 to 400 yards.
Absolutely.
Okay? They want to see Rory McIlroy, hit a shot into the green. They want to see Phil hit a lob shot.
Yes.
Right? Doesn't matter what tour they're on. They just want to see Dustin, these guys do their thing.
Yeah, but the other flip side of it, obviously the decision we're finding out on Twitter, and the other part of it, PGA, there's no overlooking this. They come across as very, very, very hypocritical with how this went down. Absolutely not the way to do it. And this is, you turn somebody down. Somebody's got the opportunity to take money from somewhere, and you say absolutely not. If you do it, there's going to be consequences, and you go ahead and take that money. That's completely, to me, the living definition of hypocritical. I don't know how you can't look at it and say that it's not. And that's, to me, this the issue I have with this. This is great for the fans, absolutely, because as you said, they don't care. They want the stars. It doesn't matter how they get them.
About the politics of it.
No, and that's what makes sports so much fun. The fans don't care about the politics and the extra stuff that surrounds it that shouldn't surround it. That's what makes sports as great as it is, but from a business perspective, this was horribly handled in a lot of ways. And now you look at how this is going to go down. This is something that's going to be widely criticized, as it should be, from not only players. I think they're not going to publicly express their
they are.
Well, not right this second. They're going to, absolutely.
First of all, they're entitled to. You're entitled to go out and say,
certainly entitled to.
What are you going to do? I'm sorry, but you can't play in the RBC Heritage. I feel like I'm So, I'm qualified. They asked me. I'm going.
1997 Masters, Tiger Woods wins, and the LIV rolls around. Sorry, Tiger, you can't play in the Players Championship. No, it's not gonna happen.
Well, but a golf agent who represents a couple of high-profile live golfers.
That's
told
where
ESPN he was unaware of the merger.
This is where, that's going to my point.
Beyond Hunan.
This is who's going to speak first.
Here's Beyond Hunan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing the live teams were struggling to get sponsors, and PGA Tour couldn't turn down the money. Win-win for both tours, but it's a big lose for all of us who defended the tour the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
No kidding. Right? And every press conference, these guys are being asked about it over and over again. Guess what? Jay Monahan, you go to every tournament. Sit down. He doesn't go to every tournament, by the way. No. But you should have been going to every tournament and saying, hey, look, don't bother asking the players. I'll take the questions.
I'll take the questions, but he doesn't.
Right?
That's
and he doesn't do it. Right? And then, Jim Nantz will make a slight comment here or there, in the Masters or the PGA involving because live players were on the leaderboard. I mean, at the Masters, you had Koepka, Mickelson, and Patrick Reed. Believe it or not, we're all in the top 6. All right, PGA, Koepka won it. All right, but so Jim would make, a side comment because they were on the CW, I guess, or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
Right, and. What the heck did he? He made some comment about it. He's in the cart walk or something like that. Whatever it was. Yeah, that's the CW or something. But they put everybody taking sides. CBS, NBC, they're all taking sides. They do this. Again. The fans don't care. Now, Monahan has scheduled a players' meeting for 4 o'clock today in Toronto. Because they're playing in the Canadian Open.
Yep.
A player told ESPN that PGA Tour Players Advisory Committee met with the USGA officials in Columbus on Sunday. Monahan and other PGA Tour executives attended the meeting as well, but there was no discussion about a merger. Oh boy! Now there's nothing. There's nothing wrong about close to the vest on negotiations. I have no problem with that.
That's fine.
Okay,
but
I have no
I don't either.
problem with that.
I don't either.
But when you are taking people and you're throwing them out there left and right, and they're defending you and putting the other guy down, and defending you and putting the other guy down, over and over again, where they're putting their name and their reputation on the line.
That's second part of its biggest part. Second part of it's huge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. And you treat them this way?
Yeah.
Well, McElroy, I want my $3 million back.
Mm-hmm. You want your money? Yeah, because
he skipped.
Yeah.
He skipped the heritage.
Yeah.
Right. I want my $3 million.
Absolutely. And it's a case of anything to make us look good and you look bad. That's what this is a case of here. You had guys defend you repeatedly. Guys turn down lucrative money. McElroy's a prime example there. Other guys turn down plenty of lucrative money. Consequences with the people that did join LIV over a year ago. All of this happening, making these guys look bad when in turn, the people that laid down that consequence, that laid down the punishment, are the ones now that are trying to look good and make themselves look good. That's not right.
It's not
absolutely
right.
not.
See, that's the biggest problem I have with it. I'm fine with them. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. From a fan, absolutely. I'm fine with it too. I
just want to see the best players play against each other.
No doubt about it.
All the time. I mean, we've never had the situation in Major League Baseball. Never.
Yep.
In my lifetime, obviously. The Federal League, obviously, was in the 1914. 40s. Okay, I got it. Because people don't realize, Wrigley Field was not built for the Cubs. It was built for the Chicago Whales of the Federal League. And then when the Federal League folded, the Cubs took over Wrigley Field in 1916. But that's a different story. So we've never had to deal with baseball. Football's had a lot of challenges to it. And the AFL was the only one that succeeded. But in the end, there were certain, as we mentioned with the USFL, when that died, because they were competing with them, suddenly you got to see all the best players playing against, and that's all the fans care about. They don't care about that stuff. Suddenly the NBA, Julius Erving is playing in the NBA after playing all those years in the ABA. And everybody's hearing about this high wire act, all the dunks with the Virginia Squires and the New York Nets, right? They, David Thompson, they saw him play in college and went, wow. Well, guess what? He signed with the ABA, with Denver. Right? Now he's going to play in the NBA. Artis Gilmore was in the Final Four, for goodness sakes. But he played with the Kentucky Colonels in the ABA. Now he's going to play in the NBA. Ended up playing with the Bulls, I believe it was. Right? That's all the fans care about. Right? Suddenly, Wayne Gretzky is playing in the NHL because of the merger. Right?
Yep.
Along with Mark Messier. Like, they get to play in the league. And the fans get to see everybody at once.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what they wanted to see along the way. That's, the fans just want to see the best play against the best. They're not into the competing politics of, of the splits and stuff. People aren't into that. They're into their teams. They want to see the best play the best. And that's all they want. They're not into, it's like, gee, I wonder how we'd do if we played against. You don't have to wonder. You're playing.
Exactly. And I think you go back then, obviously, I think it made these players' careers obviously a lot better. The USFL disbanded. We talked about it yesterday. You talked about the lack of crowd and lack of interest, really. From that perspective, you bring in, a guy like Steve Young and Reggie White to the NFL. These guys, Reggie White's, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker. Yeah, absolutely. And you bring in guys like that. You bring in Hall of Famers. You bring in, Reggie White's one of the best defensive players I ever saw. Yeah. And also Herschel Walker, people sometimes forget, he changed the Dallas Cowboy franchise. He made that dynasty with that trade where he went to Minnesota for 12 guys total. Emmitt Smith ends up being drafted. Russell Maryland, number 1 overall. This is really a spot that makes them better, and I think the ABA, NBA, same thing. You get the chance. Philadelphia would not have had the chance to see Julius Erving, play for the Sixers if this doesn't happen. Exactly. So there's no doubt about it that it makes these. It makes competition better. It makes these players, I think, more notable at times in a lot of spots. But it's great for the fans, and it's what makes sports fun. Is they don't care about the political side.
77 NBA finals, right? Had in it.
Yep.
Julius Erving and George McGinnis playing for the Sixers from the ABA.
Yep.
And Maurice Lucas was in the starting lineup for the Portland Trailblazers from the ABA.
Yep.
You had the best playing against the best on the floor. That's all people cared about. Okay? It's all that mattered.
Yeah.
And no, all the other stuff, after a while, it just wears thin.
It does. And this will pass, too. I mean, at time, and when down the road, this will pass.
But I will say this. I'm glad they did this now because there's a prime example of a sport out there that has never recovered from it, right? And that's IndyCar
racing. Yep.
They had the split between IRL and kart.
Yeah.
And Mario Andretti and Gordon Johncock and all the and Al and Bobby Unser, okay,
agreed.
All went with kart.
Yeah.
And Indy would not let them race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was IRL.
Right.
And this went for years.
Yeah.
Years.
Sure.
Right? Where they didn't race at Indy. And and everybody's looking around like, it's like the two groundskeepers in the movie Major League early in the season, right? Looking out there and saying, "Who are these guys?"
The edited way.
Who are these guys? I mean, I had no idea.
They were the GM. I never heard of half of these guys. The ones I do know are way past their prime. Most of these guys never had a prime.
This guy's dead. Well, they cross him off the list. It's like, what are we doing here? Right? But that's the way it was. It was like, okay, I've heard of Ari Luyendyk. He won.
Right.
But that went for years, and that sport has never recovered from it. Yes, Indianapolis will get 250 to 300,000 fans for one day of racing.
For that one day. Yes.
In the year that anybody gives a darn about it. The Pocono race doesn't exist anymore.
No, and there's one NASCAR now too. And that's. I think you go one further, and it doesn't include a merger. But I think there is no sport to me that has angered its fans more than racing. With that merger, with kart and Indy and IRL, no doubt about it. With that, NASCAR, with how corporate they made it, and look, you're in the business to make money. I get that. There's no question. You completely went away from the fan base that made you who you were in NASCAR. And that, I think, is probably a big reason why we see the popularity of F1 to where it is now. I think because, look, fans love racing. They really do.
They do enjoy it.
They enjoy it completely, but they also understand when you get the politics involved and when you say the heck with you to the fans, they're going to say the heck with you right back. And for good reason.
Exactly right.
And that's why racing to me is not what it once was whatsoever. You go to Pocono Raceway in 1996, that place was jammed to capacity. You couldn't find a spot all weekend long. That includes qualifying. Now, it's not that way. IndyCar racing, you talked about at the Poconos, you couldn't find a spot for many years. Not even there anymore. Yeah, that's the one, to me, the one sport that just alienated its fans so much that I'm not sure you're ever going to get them back.
The split lasted 12 years.
Yep.
Right? 12 years. Right? You know what that means? The Andrettis didn't race
it
for 12
12
years.
Seasons. Yeah.
Okay? And
And
I mean, and of course, you know what's interesting? The other part too is the media ends up taking sides.
sure. Yeah.
Because everybody expects you to have an opinion about, well, what about, you got to write something powerful or say something powerful about it.
Right.
And because I've seen so many of these in my lifetime, this experience, that's why I took the rather benign approach to this, saying, look, they need to work it out and merge. Yeah. The fans only care about seeing the best. And that, I didn't want to get into Saudi money, sports washing,
right.
PGA Tour problems, money problems, things like that, purse problems, appearance problems. Sure. I didn't want to get into any of that. Okay, that's because that's not what the fans care about. They don't care about that.
No.
Okay, they could care less. They want to know who's showing up this week at the Canadian Open. They want to know who's going to show up at the Travelers in Cromwell.
Yeah,
I mean that's all they care about. What's the field? That's all they care. They don't care about the politics of it.
No. Fans do not. And the add to that second part, though, fans, huge importance. Players, you go back to that merger just quickly on the IRL and CART. Who promoted Indy racing against NASCAR more than anybody? That was the Andretti's.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Yep. Promoted that sport, made that sport, helped make it what it was, and you took it away. That's why that's the hardest part of seeing stuff like this is you literally spit on the people that make you who you are. And that's not right. It just isn't. It is for the fans. It's great, thank goodness, because that's a huge factor.
Well, to combat the Indy 500, they ran something called the US 500.
Yeah, I remember this. Yep.
Adrian Fernandez made this quote 2 years ago. So sad of what happened. No one won, and our series got destroyed.
Sure.
All parties had huge egos that no one thought this could happen, and it did. Saddest day in motorsports racing by far, 25 years later, and it hasn't recovered to the levels of the popularity CART had. I hope it can soon.
Yep.
Well, he's right.
And he's right. Right on. 1,000% right on. He's not
incorrect.
Yeah, no.
He's not incorrect. Yeah, and that's why I kept equating this to, because I watched this go for 12 years.
Yeah.
Right, for 12 years. And I watched a sport that seemed to be doing really well and so forth.
Was doing really well.
And ended up getting destroyed.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so.
Yeah, and it's what distinguishes, we talked about money talks, absolutely, but you have to do it the right way. Do you make mistakes sometimes? I'll use the Big Ten as an example. Did they make mistakes in the past 3 to 5 years? You bet you they did. Did they make things that benefit them? Absolutely. That's why the TV deal is where it is right now with Big Ten football, with Big Ten sports. That it's being more successful than you are making mistakes, having a strong ratio. Unfortunately, when you put money above everything and you spit on everything else, you're not going to be successful. And that's where I think you see a lot of these sports nowadays, and racing to me is at the top of that list. You are not going to be successful when you say, get out of here to the fans. No chance. No. And then that's why PGA's got it. Everybody involved in this situation. This is great for the fans. You have to acknowledge that. But the flip side of that, you also got to acknowledge the players and should have told these guys. And pretty much not only told these guys, apologized to these guys for what has happened in the last 2 years.
The reason you have to go to them first.
Yeah.
They're the ones that put their neck out there and their integrity and reputation on the line.
Who make you who you are. No doubt.
Every week, hey, we're doing great. I had a tour. I don't know what. Okay. They were doing all that.
Yeah,
they did everything they were asked to do.
Everything. That's everything they were asked to do. Exactly. And everything they were asked to do, even if it didn't benefit them, even if they took a loss for doing it, they did it. And you in this part, I could say turned your back on them, because I think that's what really happened here. Made a mistake. You owe them an apology, a very big one. You owe them money too. I think that's another part of it.
Let's talk about Rory McIlroy for a moment. We have had Rory McIlroy on this show. Sat there, talked to Rory McIlroy, interviewed him on the show. No offense, but the times I've been around him, and it's only been in covering U.S. Opens, down at Marion, down at Oakmont, right? He comes off as just a terrific guy. Like, easy to talk to, easy to deal with, very open, very honest. Hey, now, I'm not going to say I know him away from an interview, because I don't. But all I know is my interactions with him, and my impression of him is the same as everybody else. We've had Jerry Dulac on here. Jerry's had exponentially more interactions with him than I have. He'll tell you the same thing. Right? But he's a good guy. Well, this good guy went out there, and he kept being the face of this. He ends up being the face of it.
The face of it who
not
talks.
The guy who caused it. Not the guy that then negotiated the merger. He's the one that is, but he's the face of the whole thing. And then he's the last guy to find out. It's not right.
That's not right.
It's not right, man.
No. It's not right whatsoever. It really isn't. And that's, no, it's just absolutely not right. And I think what makes a great boss slash executive is the people who are transparent. Right. And that is, when you don't have that, you may make money, you may come across looking good at times, but it's not right. It just isn't in that spot. When you trade a player, tell them you're trading them. They can't. They shouldn't have to find out from any kind of news outlet or via any kind of social media outlet. Should never have to find out about that. You are the one that has to be transparent to the guys who lay it on the line, for the guys and gals who lay it on the line for you. And there are a lot of people, unfortunately, in sports that are not. A lot of people in the world, let alone sports, that are not.
The decision makers spend too much time hiding in the office.
Hiding.
And not.
Yeah.
Right. And then when it comes time.
Yep.
And let's send out a press release.
Yeah, send out a press release so we don't have to speak. And that'll be our quote words that we can go ahead and rebuff because we didn't physically say them behind a microphone. Yeah, no, that's not the way to do it at all. And the criticism is warranted when you do get criticized for that.
But for example, I'll say this: Adam Silver does a lot of interviews.
Sure. David Stern did the same thing.
Okay. He does a lot of interviews.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman does a lot of interviews.
Yeah. For what? Especially for how criticized he is. Yeah. Right. Agreed.
Well, but Gary Bettman does a lot of interviews.
He does.
And I also think that Gary Bettman, in the latter stages of his career, and I don't know how long it's going to go.
Yeah.
But let's be fair here, the last 7 or 8 years, he has done as well as any commissioner in sports.
Yeah.
He has expanded.
Compared, absolutely.
He has led expansion to the right spots in Vegas and Seattle. When it came time to how he dealt with the pandemic, he went to the players and he said, we are not going to play a single game until you tell us we're ready. We're not going to force you to do anything. That's the approach he took. When they finally told him, here's the date we think we'll be ready, he said, that's when we'll play.
Yep.
Right? Then when it came time to the Olympic decision, right, they worked out a new agreement, extended it, no issue there. And then when it came to the Olympics, he said he put it back in there because they wanted it. Right? So he's handled himself really well, and he does a lot of interviews. Sure. Okay? Rob Manfred needs to do more interviews.
Quite a few more. Yeah.
He's not good at it. Right? He's not good at it, but he will get better at it because the more he does.
He has to.
Right? Yeah. Because Kevin Warren was not good at it.
No.
Kevin Warren at least got a little bit better at it as time went. But Rob Manfred needs to do more. Right? They've got problems right now. Right? Which I'll detail in a moment. All right. And Roger Goodell needs to do more. That's one
Roger
thing.
Goodell's got to do a lot more.
ESPN a few years ago did a terrific job where once a year they would get all 4 commissioners in at the same time to interview them. They need to get back to doing that.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
need to get back to doing that. Get all 4 together. Sit in the same room, talk about what it's like, to do their particular jobs. Goodell, though, needs to get out there more, right? He handles press conferences fine, but you don't need to be sitting in the tower the entire time. Come on, you can get out, talk.
Yep.
Now, I know you've got a 10-year deal with TV. You've got a 10-year deal with labor, right? This is the right time to talk.
Right.
Right? This is the right time to talk about state of the game, it's okay. Right?
Yeah.
I think part of what they always get worried about is that if issues are brought up, are you going to be brought to court? Right?
NFL especially. Yep, absolutely.
Now,
And
Major League Baseball, this is why Rob Manfred needs to talk right now. He needs to get out there and be the face of what's going on. Let's go through some of the basics. One, the regional sports network problem and how Major League. Now I know they're in court right now. With is it Diamond Sports, Sinclair, something like that. But about Major League Baseball and how they're going to be able to handle this. I mean, the Pirates deal on a regional sports network is a $61 million deal. Okay. The Padres, they had to bring it, Major League Baseball had to bring it in-house. And that was a huge deal that they had. Right, with the regional sports network. It was a gigantic deal the Padres had. Okay. The Minnesota Twins deal runs out at the end of this season. The Twins were getting $60 million. They were offered $54 with a $1 million increase for each of the years up through 28. And the Twins rejected it. They're going to open it up. But what are the options? Right now they're looking around saying, what are the options? So Major League Baseball, which had been going along as thriving as a $10 to $12 billion industry, now is having a part of that ripped out at this point. So that's a huge issue he has to deal with and talk about and talk to the fans about. Right. Next, what do you do with the A's? Okay? Everyone thinks the A's situation is settled, that they're going to Las Vegas. It is not settled.
Not settled. No.
They went to the Nevada legislature, and they didn't vote on it, and they only meet in a 4-month session. The 4-month session ended yesterday. They didn't vote on it. The only way now they can vote on it is if the governor of Nevada, Governor Lombardo, calls a special session to do it, and he hasn't indicated he's going to do it. The A's are sitting right now in a ballpark that is substandard with crowds. Okay, I mean, the Spikes on opening night had 4,334 fans. Okay, opening night. They had 800 more fans than the Oakland A's did that night. You know that?
Yeah.
They had 800 more fans in State College than to see the Oakland A's play at home.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Right? They may be terrible, but nobody's going to see
It's
them.
not only that. Yeah, it's terrible.
So
It's
he
just
needs to get active publicly to get Nevada to move on what is going on and get that team into Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He needs to be public about how do we solve, really public about how do we solve the Tampa Bay Rays situation, which then in turn means he has to be very public about what do I do about expansion.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Because
which the NBA has done. Adam Silver's done already.
Yes. And guess what? Expansion, especially coming out of, there's a couple of items here that needs to be discussed, why expansion becomes more important. You're coming out of COVID. You still have that lingering in the background financially.
Yes.
Financially,
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
as a disease.
You're still paying. Yeah, no,
right?
You're still paying.
Financially. Number two, if you're having trouble with regional sports networks, how do you get quick cash into the hands of all the existing teams? Oh, expansion. It draws more excitement. Okay, Because guess what? You're going to have 10 new franchises through expansion. You're saying, well, wait a minute. What do you mean 10? You're going to get 2 major league franchises, and each one's going to get 4 minor league franchises.
Yep. And there's where that's
See, now you get 10. You get 10 cities. 10 cities or towns are going to get baseball teams out of expansion. Okay. So that's, these are all things that are important that he needs to be talking about in as many public forums as possible. Right? When you're in the leadership position, okay, you need to get out there and talk. You can't have the surrogates doing all the talking for you. You have to be the one doing the talking. You're the one setting the policy. They're not. They're the ones following the policy.
Exactly. And, the other part of that, you touched on the minor leagues. You go back a couple of years, I don't think he handled that well, and I don't think he spoke well doing that either. So that's where he was terrible.
What they did was awful, and here...
Yeah, it was.
And I'll go through it one more time, but I'll talk about one more time.
Absolutely awful.
Okay? You have 162 cities and towns in this country that have minor league baseball. So now you contract it back to 120. This was the Houston Astros idea. Just saying that doesn't feel right. Okay? I mean, seriously, this was their idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you roll it back to 120. Each club, you want to know how much money each club saved? $1 million. The equivalent of a utility.
I was going to say, not much.
That's all they saved by doing. Each club saved $1 million by doing this. The equivalent of a utility infielder. Really? All right. So I'm sitting there, and this is what you do. If I'm in the room, I'm looking around at everybody saying, hey, guys, we have the greatest single grassroots marketing tool in all of sports. We're in 162 towns in the country that are affiliated with us. Okay? That's an average of a little more than 3 per state.
Yep.
Now, not every state has 3. New Hampshire has 1. Maine has 1. Vermont had 1. Rhode Island had 1. But you're averaging 3 minor league teams per state, where you're growing the game, you're growing fans. You're sitting there saying, in Oneonta, New York, John Elway played ball here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Oneonta eventually moved out. I mean, they eventually moved to Norwich, Connecticut. But all these towns could claim these major leaguers that came through and played for them. Batavia, which had, there's no question, Batavia is the kind of franchise that caused what we saw. Batavia had lost its ownership. The New York Penn League was running the team. The ballpark was absolutely substandard. It was absolutely substandard. Okay? And that was one of the problems you had. The Batavias, the Auburns, the Oneontas, and the New York Penn League, for example, their ballparks were all, right, like, wow. Really? Like, even Vermont, I mean, like, really? Like, right? Yeah. So that helped cause it.
Sure.
But at the same time, you had a marketing tool of, hey, that was really great. Ryan Howard played here, and I was playing for the. Let's go to a Phillies game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go see Ryan. I got to meet Ryan Howard when he was here playing minor league ball. I want to go to a Phillies game. Right? That's what you had. You had free. You had not free because you had to pay for this stuff. Right? But you had grassroots marketing, and you looked at 42 towns in America and went, get out of here.
Yeah. And
you think you won any fans by doing that?
Oh, God.
You won exactly no fans. by doing
No.
that. You lost fans by
No.
doing that.
Yep.
Right? You've got fans in 42 towns across the country looking at you right now, hearing about your regional sports network problem, going, that's really,
Yeah.
well,
Great.
okay.
Exactly.
Hey, good luck to you.
Yeah. And, minor league baseball, I think the experience, too, you talked about the major leaguers where it's why it's there. You could put probably a list of reasons, and it's a long list to why a fan that goes to a minor league baseball game, to me, it has never been, and look, on the field it is. Big difference. But to me, the experience for that fan is not whether or not they win or lose. It's whether they come back and never forget it.
Right.
I think exactly. And that's where...
You're so right.
Yeah, and that's where, to me, these fans...
You
they
finally made a good point.
It took many years, but I finally got... But but I think to me, and it's those two things that come together. Those things that come together. It is that experience, which the Spikes do an exceptional job of doing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and it's and same with Redding and Altoona doing an exceptional job. But it's that second part of it that you mentioned too. Hey, I saw John Elway play here. I remember when he played here. I watched him play. Well, not John Elway's a bad example. Ryan Howard. I saw him play. Andrew McCutcheon. I saw him play. Let's go to a Pirates game. Let's go see this guy that I saw in the minors. And sometimes you get lucky. Kid gets their autograph, then you never forget about it. You think about, hey, I shook hands with this guy when he was 21 years old, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's the experiences that are made in minor league baseball, the experiences that were taken away by Rob Manfred and not explained well enough whatsoever.
That's why this expansion component is critical, because it's when you are handing out two major league franchises, you are now helping out a total of 10 cities.
Right.
Let's just, for the sake of argument, say the two expansion franchises are Nashville and Portland.
Yep. Very good chance one of those is going to happen. Yeah.
I think Portland could happen.
I think Portland. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it could. Seattle wants Portland.
Yep.
They want to have, because they're sick of traveling.
Same with NBA. I think you could flip side of that. I think Seattle is going to be a very, very likely spot.
Exactly.
Yep.
But say it's Nashville and Portland. Well, each one of them is going to have a minor league system.
Yep.
Right? Of 4 franchises. Well, guess what? It's going to be, and it's not going to be in duplicate towns. It's going to be in four towns. For Nashville, 4. So 2 cities and 8 towns. 8 towns to bigger cities are going to get franchises. That's what it means.
Sure.
Right? And it's going to mean probably to the tune, each expansion franchise could be worth anywhere from $2 to $2.5 billion as an expansion entry fee. I think the entry fee for the Vegas Golden Knights was $500 million.
Yep.
And I think the Seattle Kraken entry franchise is higher. It was like $800 million.
Yeah, that was close to $1 billion. That was very close. Yeah, that was significant.
$850 million, I think, was the number.
Yep.
Well, that's the NHL.
Right.
Okay. The NBA and Major League Baseball are going to command
billions.
2 bills.
Yeah.
At least.
Yep.
And look at what the Phoenix Suns were just bought for, $4.2 billion. That tells you an expansion franchise and the value it's going to have. Major League Baseball could be looking at $2 to $2.5 billion, which is $5 billion that would then go into the pockets of 30 owners. But they have to resolve the regional sports network problem. They have to resolve the A's problem going into Las Vegas. I mean, they've already got steps going, but they have to now push the Nevada legislature. You have to push the governor to call a special session now, because the 4-month legislative session's run out. It's amazing how just a little quick reading, you learn a lot about how the state government works there. Right. And then they have to figure out what are they doing with Tampa.
Right.
I mean, they're playing over in St. Petersburg. Not the best situation. No. Right? And then you get to the expansion part. He needs to be the face of all this and get out and talk about it. Don't sit there and be worried all the time about, well, who do I trust? Just get on and do these things. Just talk to them. every single franchise out there, right? You have people that are sitting in broadcast booths, right? They guess what? They work for the clubs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they'll ask good questions.
Sure.
Right? And it's okay to sit down and say, hey, look, hey, we're in Baltimore today. Great. I'm in Baltimore. I'll talk. I mean, Jay Monahan should have been, as the PGA Tour commissioner, should have been doing a press conference at every tournament in every town they went to. Every single one. Mm-hmm. He should have been the one doing it. Not Rory McIlroy every week.
Yep.
He should have been the one.
Agreed.
Now, he did go out when this first happened. Yeah, he did a press conference and did some TV interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he did an interview with Jim Nantz when this first happened. And to his credit, he was terrible. I remember when it was done, I thought, oh, my goodness, that was not good at all.
No.
I'm thinking, poor Jim Nantz. He's trying to, Jim's over there doing everything except taking the ball.
I was going to say, pretty much,
lobbing the, come on, Jay.
I was going to say layups with the opposite sport, and then he was blowing that. Jay was missing them terribly.
Jim is asking good questions, but he's also trying to do it in such a way where, come on, Jay, hit the ball, will you? It's like, come on. And that is, again, the fans going all the way back to this. What do they care about?
Yeah.
Hey, does this
best competition?
I mean, now this, by the way, this goes into effect starting next season. Yes. This is not going to be immediate.
No, it's not immediate, no.
But it's going to feel, I'll tell you what, the olive branch to me would not hurt. I mean, no offense to anybody on the PGA Tour, but you're telling me Brooks Koepka is not allowed to play the Ryder Cup for the United States of America? Over here in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the Masters in the PGA. He might be one of the 12 best players.
Yeah.
That's the olive branch you throw out. Hey, guys, we're going to allow captain's choices to go to live golfers as part of the merger. In other words, the option of it. In other words, if there are no live golfers that are worthy of it, then you don't pick any.
Right.
Right? But Koepka's worthy of it. Because the captain gets to make choices. We would say, hey, look, as part of the, I hope it's in there, part of the agreement would be, hey, captain's choices are open to any United States citizen playing professional golf around the world.
Yeah.
How about that for an open-ended, right?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, you're going to tell him you're going to play the Ryder Cup and Brooks Koepka's not on the team?
Yeah.
That'd be a break.
That's not right. Yep.
Look, the bottom line is, Jason, I just want to win.
Darn right. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
And once again, the Jason Lord philosophy comes out, which brings us to 49 good San Francisco seconds. Speaking of doing anything to win and hardly anything within the rules, go ahead.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Everybody talked about Belichick with the Patriot thing. The 49ers got caught on this once, too.
They did. Yeah, they kind of cheated. They're I think they're half the reason there's a salary cap right now in the NFL. I think Eddie DeBartolo is probably a huge reason why there is a salary cap right now in the NFL.
Maybe.
Yeah, just a bit.
He's a Youngstown guy.
Yeah, same with the Super Bowl rigs being budgeted nowadays.
Yeah.
Small reason for that. No, I'm not one that can watch football for 12 months unless it's the NFL, literally. But
I know.
I'm excited that Brock Purdy's progress is going great, and that's the most important part for the 49ers is he's on track to start week one, barring any setback, and that's all I need in terms of from a fan's perspective looking at that. And he deserves that chance, and looking forward to it if he can do it.
Spikes game 2 tonight.
Yeah.
The Reigns moved out. We're fine. Spikes game 2 tonight. Trenton.
Yes.
As they would say. Trenton.
Yes.
All right. Last night, Trent scored 7 in the first.
Yeah.
Spike's pitchers gave up 1 hit after that. And
cut it to 8-6, too.
Got it to 8-6.
Yeah.
Jack Rydell had 2 home runs last night. So, Hey, game 2 of the series, 2 4-1 teams head-to-head. Should be a lot of fun. Hope to see everybody at the ballpark tonight.
Absolutely.
Are you back tomorrow?
I am.
Looking forward to it. You guys have to know us here, okay?
Yeah, I don't hope so.
all these
Hope
years,
by now.
all these years we've worked together. It's like, gee.